What's going on, travelers? Sam here, back at it again for another video. And in today's video, a bit of a different one. I actually wanted to take a minute to talk about the quote-unquote drama that occurred in the Genshin community yesterday. But instead of throwing fuel on the flame, I actually wanted to take a step back and give my opinion on why I think this could actually be a good moment in time, and it could be an inflection point for Hoyoverse. So let's get into it. Now, if you weren't aware, yesterday, Genshin's Doyun, I probably butchered that name, account lost more than 1 million followers in 24 hours. Now, the Doyun account, to my knowledge, and again, apologies if I'm incorrect, this is like their main Chinese account. And essentially what happened is the Chinese player base was upset with the rewards that they got for the Chinese New Year, and they had this quote-unquote strike. Now, you might be asking, well, what were the rewards? Essentially, they got 3 total intertwined fates because it was a 3-year, anniversary or 3-year Chinese New Year. And the community went ahead and reviewed bombed Bilibili, and they even went as far as to unfollow companies that had collabed with Genshin, aka KFC, Pizza Hut, and Hey Tea. And as a response, Hoyoverse actually went ahead and bought zombie accounts, or aka fake accounts, to maintain their followers. So this is a huge deal. You have a huge population of the Genshin community, the Chinese player base, that has a massive strike where a ton of people unfollow Hoyoverse. And then you have, then you have the company with a pretty significant response. So this is a major deal. This is no like, haha, hee hee, this is no big deal. Now, instead of, continuing to pile on Hoyoverse, continue to dump on Genshin Impact, like I mentioned, I think this is a inflection point. I think Hoyoverse realizes that, hey, maybe our rewards to our players that have been playing the game for over 3 years aren't significant enough. Case in point, because this is the Chinese community, and I would say arguably the Chinese community really is the apple of Hoyoverse's eye, they try and pander to the Chinese community. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. I would say statistically, if you broke down the spend from each region, I gotta think China is significantly higher than all the regions in spend. And the reason I think that Hoyoverse is going to feel more compelled to make a change because of the Chinese community outrage is because of the Zhongli situation. Now, if you aren't aware or don't remember, when Zhongli was first released, he was thought to be very underwhelming. The Chinese community was upset. They thought, here's this Archon, a literal god of the game. They thought he was very mediocre, so they kind of petitioned. They got together, similar to this current situation. And what did they do? They made Zhongli significantly better. They significantly boosted his kit. They basically gave his shield, the shred that it has, and it elevated Zhongli from arguably A, maybe mid, low S to SS tier. When after these kit changes were made, Zhongli was the best character in the game at the time. He wasn't even close. If you didn't have Zhongli on your account, you were significantly missing out. So we've already seen one instance where the Chinese community, quote unquote, got together, striked, and a change was made. Now, I don't know if the Chinese community, griped about the weapon banner system as much, but if you all remember, before the epitomized path was made, there was no pity on the weapon banner whatsoever. We all saw the infamous clips of Tectone spending oodles of money trying to get the Staff of Homa, and subsequently they made a significant change to the weapon banner. Is it the best system? Absolutely not. I would still argue it is a bit of a scam, but at least there is a pity system. At least if you have enough wishes or you're willing to swipe enough, you can get the weapon you want. Before, there was nothing. So we have these 2 moments in time, 2 instances where the community got together and significant changes were made by the developers and Hoyoverse. So what can be done? Now, I know it might be a little bit of copium because this game has been out for 3+ years. We're approaching the 4-year anniversary eventually. Will there be something bigger? I don't know, but I think that this is an inflection point. I truly believe that Hoyoverse is like, okay, we've had avid players that have been playing this game for years. It's time to maybe give them better rewards. We've seen them have better rewards in HSR. We've seen them have better rewards in Honkai Impact. Why hasn't Genshin Impact given us better rewards? Now, I'm not here to chastise, getting 20 polls on the third anniversary. I don't care. It's at the end of the day, it's free. But I think this this situation also provides context to the importance of constructive criticism. Now, I know that constructive criticism can be deemed toxic. I would argue that toxicity and constructive criticism are on totally separate ends of the spectrum. I think in order for change to be made, you have to be constructive. This is a totally ludicrous example, and it's only going to resonate with my North American cohorts. But imagine if the founding fathers never chastised the English rule. America wouldn't be what it is today, right? I know that it's totally far fetched, but if you just break it down as simply as possible, that's what would have happened. Now, I understand being, an avid fan of something. Like I have a basketball team that I have been a fan of since the day I was born. My team sucks right now. They're absolutely terrible, but I will defend them with every fiber of my being. So I understand when you have tremendous love and affinity for something, the need to feel compelled to defend it. And I know that's what the Genshin community is. I know we all love this game. In fact, I think constructive criticism comes from a place of, love and passion. If we didn't care, we wouldn't say anything, right? So I think we need to break the stigma that constructive criticism and toxicity are one and the same. In my mind, they're not even close. So again, I think this is a inflection point for Hoyoverse to be like, okay, our Chinese community, which is arguably, in their eyes, the most important community that they have, is very upset with the rewards. How do we go about this? And if they're willing to make changes for the Chinese community, maybe they'll make changes for global. I know that's probably cope because China has definitely already gotten favoritism in the past, but it's a step in the right direction, right? The old saying is the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. Well, if the first step is to give back more to the Chinese community, then I'm fine with that first step. So that's pretty much it. I really just wanted to, take a step back, be a little bit more introspective, look for a silver lining, because I do think that there is the hope for change, right? I know, I sound ridiculous, and I never wanted to make a drama video. I'm a grown freaking dude. I stay away from drama. I just go about playing a game that I really like and making content for it. But I really wanted to take a step back and be like, hey, this is a moment in time that I think could have a significant impact for the course of the game. We still have two major regions to go. We still have Natlan, we still have Shesnaya, we still have the whole remaining story to get flushed out. We're going to get a ton of characters. There is still plenty of time. There is still plenty of game. Drastic changes can be made. So the fact that we just want to give up and roll over, I think is the wrong mentality. Like, listen, Wuthering Waves, for what it's worth, I don't know if y'all watch this dev live stream. They listen to player feedback. If you scroll ahead, I don't know specifically where it is in the video, but they stated that they overhauled 90% of their story. And I get it, the game's not out, it's not fully released. It's a lot easier to make changes in the early development or early to late development stages as opposed to a full-blown release game like Genshin Impact. But changes can be made. It's important, especially for video games, that the devs listen to their player base. I get the need for Genshin players to be defensive of a game that they love, but at the end of the day, it's realistically only hurt us because we've just been, I don't want to say brainwashed, but we've kind of been brainwashed into believing that mediocrity is okay. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Genshin Impact. I do. I've been playing it since the beginning. I started making content on it. Genshin Impact is the reason I have a YouTube channel. So I naturally have a tremendous amount of admiration and affinity for the game. At the same time, I can be objective and realize that, hey, they have definitely dropped the ball on a lot of occasions, and that's totally fine. We can be constructive of the things we love. Like I said, I think constructive criticism comes from a good, positive place. If we didn't care, if Tectone didn't care, if MTash didn't care, shout out MTash, nice little video right there, then they never would have said anything, right? We have such profound admiration for video games and specifically this video game Genshin Impact in itself, that we just want changes to be made. So, like I said, that was probably a totally long-winded explanation, but I think we need to be willing to be constructive of the things that we admire, specifically in this case, video games. But that's pretty much it. I just wanted to kind of give my 2 cents on this drama situation. I do think that Hoyoverse is in a bit of a inflection point. I've said that multiple times. I do think that if they are introspective and be like, okay, maybe it's time. Maybe it's time that we make some changes to the rewards. I think it could be significantly good for not only Genshin Impact, but HSR and ZZZ and any other future projects that Hoyoverse has. But that's pretty much it. I appreciate you all listening to me ramble. Comment down below. Am I a total dingbat? Am I just an absolute copium idiot? Or do you think that this could be a turning point for Genshin Impact and Hoyoverse as a whole? But I appreciate you all so much, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.